What's up, guys? I'm CandidCrandell, and today we are talking about Season 9 of Grey's Anatomy. Thank you so much to all of you who have watched my other Grey's Anatomy season recaps. So happy that you enjoyed them, and I really love making these videos. Down in the description, I have linked to all of them, seasons 1 through 8. You're welcome. We are in the first episode, about a month after the plane crash. Meredith Grey is now a general surgery fellow at Seattle Grace. The interns call her Medusa. Dr. Yang is in Minnesota at the Mayo Clinic. She's working with Dr. Thomas, or as I like to call him, Mr. Feeney. Derek has supposedly been cleared for surgery, but he's kind of not wanting to operate. He's like hesitant to get back into the OR. We have a whole group of new interns this season at Seattle Grace Mercy West. Joe, Shane, Heather, Leah, and Stephanie. Alex Karev is still hanging around Seattle Grace Mercy West, screwing all of the interns in typical Alex Karev fashion. He has postponed going to Hopkins once already, but he's saying that he's going to go again. Mark has been in a coma for 30 days. If he isn't showing any signs of improving after 30 days, he doesn't want to continue to be on life support. So they are pulling the plug on Mark. Dr. Bailey has a new nickname. She is no longer the Nazi, but BCB, Booty Call Bailey. Callie and Arizona are struggling in their relationship after Callie made the decision to cut off Arizona's leg without her consent. Oops. Christina isn't doing well at the Mayo Clinic because she's not a team player. Maybe she'll go back to Seattle? Owen flies out to visit April on her family's farm and asks her to come back to Seattle Grace Mercy West. Alex ends up deciding to stay in Seattle because Arizona is not there to run the peds department, and they've got a new guy and he sucks and he wants to cut the Africa program, so Karev's gonna stay to make sure that everything keeps going right in the peds program. In episode 2, we go back in time from where we were in episode 1 to right after the plane crash happens. We actually kind of get to see a little bit of what they experienced and what condition they were in when they finally found them. Alex feels extremely guilty about Arizona taking his place on the plane. She would not have been on the plane if Alex hadn't pissed her off. Mark was alive when they brought him back. I felt like a lot of it was that he just gave up. He already had a lot of strain on his heart from what happened to him in the crash, and then added to the broken heart that he was experiencing over having to watch Lexi die. I just think it was all too much for him. Derek wants Callie to be the one to perform his nerve surgery. Callie is a little hesitant because that's an awkward situation to be in, operating on your friend's $1 million hand, and your success determines whether or not he'll ever be able to operate again. No big deal. In episode 2, Arizona's leg has not yet been cut off. She has a serious infection in the bone, and they're trying to cure it with antibiotics, but nothing is working. She also makes Callie promise her that she won't let anyone take her leg. Callie makes that promise. Wrong decision to make. She crashes. There is no other option other than to cut off the leg, otherwise she will die. Callie gives the okay to Alex to cut off Arizona's legs. All of the doctors involved in the plane crash are offered a one-time settlement from the flight company, and it is a lot of money. April is re-virginizing. Avery is mad at April for wanting to pretend like them having sex never happened. Derek does some research into the settlement and is skeptical because of how big it is. The bigger the mistake, the bigger the payout. Apparently Weber is now banging Avery's mom. Meredith says, well, if it makes you feel any better, he banged my mom too. Awkward. Dr. Feeney, that's just what I'm gonna call him from now on. I know it's Dr. Thomas, but Dr. Feeney tries to talk to Christina about the plane crash, and she really doesn't want to. Turns out he was in a plane crash of his own, and he was the only person that survived. April and Jackson do it again. So much for re-virginizing. After Derek convinces them, all of the doctors in the plane crash decide to turn down the settlement. Dr. Feeney and Christina are now BFFs. While Christina is hooking up with Parker, he asks whether she likes to be the big spoon or the little spoon. I'm not a spoon, I'm a knife, and I'm gonna stab you in the eye. Dr. Feeney ends up dying in surgery, and it's so sad. Literally, he dies while him and Christina are operating on a patient, and he's like, take over. Christina is back in Seattle and shows up at Meredith's front door. 30-second dance party. Alex is buying Meredith's old house because she and Derek are in their beautiful new house on his land. Jeff Russell, the head of cardio, tells Christina that she can run his service however she likes. Be careful what you wish for, dude. Christina gives all the interns dwarf names. Shane Ross is happy or dopey, depending on how well he's doing. Heather Brooks is mousy. Stephanie Edwards is grumpy. And Leah is perky. The lawyer for the doctors involved in the plane crash informs them that they will be looking for fault in the hospital for putting them on the plane in the first place. Ben wants Bailey to agree to a rustic Christmas wedding. She really doesn't give two shits. April is extremely worried because her period is 4 days late. Jackson tells April that he is in, that they can get married and that they will raise the kid together. It turns out that April isn't pregnant. April is super relieved in typical April fashion, which makes Jackson feel absolutely terrible. April Kepner, what are you doing? I'm using bobby pins to fan myself. What is this? Apparently, Owen was the one to sign off on a budget cut for transportation, meaning that they switched to flying with Skytrip, the company that supplied the plane that the doctors were on that crashed. Ooh. Owen tells Christina that he wants a divorce. Wah wah. Meredith decides to tell Derek that she's pregnant with a shirt that she bought for Zola that says, "World's Best Big Sister." McBaby is happening! Oh, my heart. Please don't let anything happen to this baby. But it is Meredith Grey, so you just never know. Meredith is afraid to tell anyone other than Derek about her pregnancy, especially after what happened last time. She hasn't even told Christina. Whoa. Whoa. Bailey asks Callie, Arizona, and Meredith to be her bridesmaids. When you get to the wedding, just don't sit down. Put on a dress and don't sit down. Okay, Bailey. The other interns all think that Alex Karev has a thing for Joe, and Joe insists that they are just friends, as does Alex. Jackson goes to Bailey's wedding with Stephanie, the intern, and April goes with Shane. Karev ends up going with Joe. Christina tells Owen that she wants to try again, and they make up. Yay! Dr. Weber is the one to take Bailey to her wedding. She's freaking out and he shows up to take her in a limo. While they are in the limo, he gets a call from the ER saying Adele is there throwing up blood. They turn the limo around and Richard and Bailey are rushing back to the hospital to help Adele. After Joe confided in Alex about her past, he starts calling her Hobo Joe. Dr. Bailey and Ben get married. She's a little late because she stays to help Adele, but Ben understands, which I think is a sign that he is much better for her than Tucker was. Tucker was a douche. Adele Weber dies of a heart attack while Bailey is getting married. Christina and Owen finalize their divorce, but they're still hooking up because they're Christina and Owen and they're weird. The doctors from the plane crash win their lawsuit. The hospital is found negligent. The doctors are awarded $15 million each. Each. As Christina puts it, mo money, mo problems. As Alex puts it, I should have been on that plane. Jackson tells April that he's sleeping with Stephanie, the intern, because he doesn't want her to hear it from anyone else. April tells Jackson that she misses him. Too little, too late, baby girl. The hospital's insurance company finds a loophole and refuses to pay the doctors who won the lawsuit. So now Seattle Grace Mercy West will be responsible for paying that. Oops. There's a cute paramedic that seems to have the hots for April. Alana Cahill proposes that Seattle Grace Mercy West close its ER. What? All the cool things come come in through trauma. Duh. Alana informs them that there is no amount of budget cuts that will save the hospital. At this point, they have to sell. She's just trying to make them appealing to buyers. Specifically, a company called Pegasus. The doctors who won the lawsuit are starting to feel guilty about all the negative changes taking place at Seattle Grace Mercy West because it's kind of their fault. Callie and Dr. Weber are concerned about Pegasus buying the hospital, so they go do a little recon at a hospital purchased by Pegasus and see what it's like. Matthew, the cute paramedic, tells April that he likes her, and they kiss. But I really do love her with Jackson, so conflicted. Callie tells the doctors from the plane crash that they cannot let Pegasus buy Seattle Grace Mercy West. Callie thinks that the doctors from the plane crash should try to buy the hospital and run it themselves. Girl, what? Derek becomes the brand ambassador for the hospital, and his face is posted everywhere. In the elevators, all over the walls. I'm a McDreamy fan, but it is a lot of McDreamy. Like, maybe too much if there is such a thing. April is nervous about her date with Matthew and how to tell him that she was a virgin and then she wasn't and now she is again. Matthew tells her that he is actually saving himself for marriage. April found her perfect man and she's not a virgin anymore. But she tells him that she is. And that's kind of a really bad thing to lie about. Christina has to lie to Owen about the doctors trying to outbid Pegasus for the hospital. If he finds out anything about it, he could face jail time. Shane goes around the hospital vandalizing all the posters of Derek at his orders. Derek, Christina, Meredith, Callie, and Arizona all quit their jobs at Seattle Grace to stop Pegasus from purchasing it. Owen thinks that they all stabbed him in the back because he has no idea what's going on. Joe starts dating Chest Peckwell, an OB resident. Okay, that's not his real name. His real name is Jason, but Chest Peckwell is just so much funnier. The doctors need hundreds of millions of dollars more to purchase the hospital. They look to Julian Crest, and things seem to be going well, and they get to final meetings with him, and then eventually he just says he's not feeling it. Wah wah. Pegasus is going to try to buy Seattle Grace Mercy West for parts, meaning that the hospital will no longer remain open. Christina finally caves and tells Owen the plan about them buying the hospital. Owen goes to the board and begs them not to sell to Pegasus because there is another offer from the doctors. Dr. Weber tells Catherine Avery about what happened with the doctors trying to buy the hospital. She agrees to put up the money from the Harper Avery Foundation. Their only condition is that they want someone representing them on the board. So she appoints Jackson to be on the board with all the other doctors who purchased the hospital. Jackson moves to reopen the ER. Jackson also moves to rename the hospital Gray Sloan Memorial Hospital. Can I just get a aww? Bailey gets approved for her human genome mapping research project. Meredith and Derek see their baby in an ultrasound. It's a boy! I hope he has Derek's hair. A little red-headed boy named Ethan Dawson comes in with his parents who were in a car accident, and Owen really starts to bond with him. Karev absolutely hates Chest Peckwell, aka Jason, because he totally has the hots for Joe, even though he won't admit it. Meredith asks Bailey to genome map her. She wants Bailey to check and see if she has the gene for Alzheimer's. Meredith ends up testing positive for more than one of the genetic markers for Alzheimer's. It's still not for sure that she'll get it. Ethan's grandmother comes to Seattle to try to take care of him. When she goes to take a nap, he ends up taking a bunch of sleeping pills and being brought into the ER. Child Protective Services is called. She admits that she really can't be the one to take care of Ethan, even though both of his parents aren't doing well. 3 patients come into the hospital with post-op infections. Dr. Bailey was the only consistent person between all 3 of them. The CDC is called in to figure out what is happening with Bailey's patients. April finally comes clean to Matthew and tells him the truth about her virginity. He does not react well. Joe tells Alex to be nice to Jason because she's moving in with him. Ethan's mom has a seizure and ends up dying. His dad is still in the CCU in critical condition. No one's sure if he's going to wake up either. So Ethan might end up becoming an orphan. Dr. Bailey overhears Dr. Weber telling Seth's parents that the infection was from one doctor, which is why it's okay for him to operate, and is extremely hurt that he is not standing by her side. Karev ends up telling Jason about Joe's past being in the foster care system and being homeless. Apparently, Joe hadn't told Jason any of that stuff, and he freaks out and calls Joe a liar. Joe is extremely mad at Alex for sharing that personal information with Jason. It is determined that Dr. Bailey's patients had a strain of MRSA USA 600. It came from her. The gloves were faulty, so she did everything she was supposed to, but the gloves didn't work. Matthew apologizes to April, and they get back together. Bailey confronts Weber about how he did not stand by her. She stood by him even when he was drinking. There's a new doctor in town named Lauren who is hitting on Arizona. For you One Tree Hill fans out there, it's Peyton Sawyer. But I am not a fan of her because she is trying to get with Arizona, and Arizona is a married woman. Dr. Bailey is cleared to operate after the MRSA incident, but she feels uncomfortable doing so. She locks herself in her genome lab and refuses to speak to anyone. Dr. Bailey repeatedly tests herself for MRSA in like 50 different petri dish things. Now she's just paranoid and she feels unclean. All of the tests come up negative, however. Joe shows up at Alex's house asking if she can stay, and she's got a black eye. It's from Chest Peckwell. Alex is not okay with this, and so he goes to give Chest Peckwell a piece of his mind. The next episode, we see Jason in the hospital with a head injury, and supposedly Alex brought him in. Owen asks Meredith how she and Derek knew that they wanted to adopt Zola. He is feeling like maybe he wants to adopt Ethan. Joe is the one who caused Jason's injury. When he came after her, she pushed him. He fell back and hit his head on the fireplace. When Alex got there and found him, he was completely passed out. Meredith tells Joe that she had better not let Alex take the fall for her. Joe assures her that she won't. Meredith takes a fall on the stairs and she's super pregnant. No, McBaby, no! But she goes to get an ultrasound and everything is fine. Hunt is keeping April from surgery and she's getting extremely mad about it. It's all part of the plan because Matthew does an adorable singing proposal with a bunch of different people in front of everyone in the hospital, and April totally doesn't expect it. It's totally corny, it's totally cute, and she says yes! When she is hugging him afterwards, she looks over his shoulder and looks right at Jackson. Chest Peckwell wakes up and is asking for the police, so Alex goes in to have a little chat with him. He convinces him not to press charges. Paul, Ethan's dad, wakes up and he is fine, so he can take care of Ethan, and Owen doesn't need to, but now Owen is left with that feeling of like, wow, maybe I really did want a kid. Lauren and Arizona hook up in an on-call room. After a whole season of not being comfortable enough to have sex with your wife because of your one leg, you go and hook up with some hoe? Rude. Arizona, rude. There is a huge storm happening. Meredith's water breaks. Of course, Meredith Grey is going to have her baby in the middle of a superstorm. What else did you think was going to happen? Meredith needs a C-section, but the power in the hospital goes out, so they're going to have to do it in the dark. Typical. A bus flips in front of the hospital. All the doctors rush out to try and help because it's on fire and it's gonna blow. McBaby is born! He needs to go to the NICU, and Meredith tells Derek to go with him, and so she is left on the table. The OBGYN has to go to another surgery. Shane is left to be the one to close up. Should be pretty easy, just closing up right after a C-section, right? Well, it is Meredith Grey, so of course, something goes wrong. Meredith won't stop bleeding. She figures out that it's from the fall that she took the other day, and so she's been bleeding internally. Dr. Bailey goes back into the OR for the first time to save Meredith Grey's life. Yeah, Bailey. The bus in front of the hospital explodes, and everyone thinks that Jackson is still inside it, and April flips out. I mean, goes ape shit crazy. Which I think means that she's not over Jackson yet. So maybe she shouldn't be getting married. Jackson is alive and he rescued the little girl that was inside. Dr. Weber finds Frank, who had a heart attack down in the generator room. He tells Dr. Weber that all he needs to do is flip a switch and the generator should come back on. Bailey saves Meredith, yay! Meredith Grey has survived a bomb, a drowning, a gunman, a plane crash, and she is still here. Dr. Weber flips the switch, presumably because the lights in the hospital all come back on. Callie notices that Arizona's ring is inside Lauren's scrub top because they switched tops after they were putting them back on after they were doing the dirty. Ugh. Callie figures it out, even though Lauren tries to cover it up and was like, oh yeah, she just let me borrow one of her scrub tops. Yeah, right, ho. Alex tells Joe that he loves her and they kiss. Been waiting for that all season. April tells Jackson that she wants him. She's getting married unless he gives her a reason not to. I like that. Arizona yells at Callie, telling her that because she wasn't on the plane, she doesn't understand. Oh, I'm so worried about them. Maybe there is too much resentment in this relationship for it to still work, which I hate because I love Calzona. Meredith and Derek decide to name their son Bailey. I love it. Bailey Shepherd McBaby. Welcome to the world. Bailey goes to look for Dr. Weber to apologize. The camera cuts to Richard, who is lying on the floor, seemingly electrocuted by the generator. No, 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 no. I am so sad that they are killing off Weber. At least I think they are. We don't know for sure. Let me know down in the comments what some of your favorite moments from season 9 were. If you don't already, you can follow me on Twitter. My username is CandidCrandell. You can also follow me on Tumblr, username CandidCrandell. And you can follow me on Instagram, username, you guessed it, CandidCrandell. I put out videos every Tuesday and Thursday on my channel, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of them. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you on Tuesday. Bye.